Yeah, we've been together for so long. I'm not sure it's a big difference whether I'm on the sideline or the other guys. And they're during games either way, we're all kind of active anyway and discuss everything as a group and as a staff. So I don't expect it to be a big change either in performance or in um, feeling for the guys during the game. And the work during the week doesn't change at all. Preparation doesn't change at all. So it's just the lack of maybe my annoying voice in the locker room before they go out.
Yeah. I know you don't want to address sort of your departure, but I'm just wondering if you could speak to how the team reacted to that and what the expectations are moving forward in the season. Is this a piece of extra motivation for them? Do you see it that way? How does this factor into the mentality of the group?
Well, all we have to judge it off of is the last performance in Portland, and if that's the case, then I thought the performance was excellent, the mentality was excellent, and I couldn't have been more proud of the guys.
Yeah. You see Phil Neville was fine for his comments, supportive of you and sort of against the
I
official?
didn't see he was fine, but I did text Phil afterwards and appreciated the support. I think it's important that coaches stick together, and sometimes it's difficult to provide emotions in games, which is important for our sport and the growth of our sport in this country, but at the same time, we're asked not to. And so it's a fine line that the officials have to judge. That's their jobs. And in this case, it's my job to accept the punishment, and I do. And I think, um, yeah, I think it's, again, sometimes not always the right call to always go to the punishment and sanction coaches. I think it's better to talk and communicate, to work on a solution together rather than just to pass out punishments.
I can just ask more on the additions that you made, Frankie Amaya and Ryan Raposo. What's your expectation for them coming in? How soon we see them on the field?
Yeah, both players are very familiar with our league and LAFC, and so and both players have a lot of experience starting games, playing games, and we see them helping our group in games, in training. Will allow us to rotate more and to keep the tempo of games and the intensity up at all times and take no breaks. So it's another step towards being a complete roster, and we couldn't be happier signing those two players. And I think for Frankie, he could see the field very soon. And for Ryan, we just need to wait on arrival physicals and that all fun stuff.
Hey Steve, I wanted to ask you about Nathan Ordaz. What have you seen of him? His role has been growing. What does he bring to the team?
Yeah, Nathan has been with us for a very long time in our academy, and so we know him very well. And trying to integrate academy players into first team in this league and teams who play in multiple competitions, who have high ambitions, is very difficult. It's a huge jump for our academy players. And Nate has, taken, it's about a 2-year process, really. But he has, this season, come on very strong. He worked really hard on his fitness in the off season. And he came in and proved from day one in preseason that he wants to play. And he deserves to play. And so I think Nate gives us verticality, Nate gives us mobility, and he also understands how to finish plays.
Same question about other young player, David Martinez. His personality also with so many stars and veteran players on the team.
Yeah, David is an extremely talented player who also shows at times that he's unstoppable. For most young players, it's important to show what you can do, but it's then the next step is to do that consistently. And instead of producing, every 10th game an amazing performance and then 5 bad ones, let's have 10 good performances, above average performances, and I think that's the next step for him, to be a contributor more frequently.
All right, we will switch over to Zoom. We'll go to Andy.
Thanks. Hey, Steve. I know your decision to leave the team at the end of the season probably doesn't change much of the approach, but I'm just curious, and maybe emotions if you have anything you want to share in terms of kind of just going through the rest of the season and knowing what you've done in the past for LAFC and walking away from that eventually.
No, again, I'm just really focused on for me tomorrow, and then and I'll observe the match on Sunday. But I'm just focused on, what we still want to accomplish this season. Not a super emotional person at work, and there's time for that later. We can sit down and talk about after the season if you'd like.
I'll be waiting for that, Steve.
All right.
Thank you, Andy. We'll go to Daniel.
Hey, Steve, towards the end of the Portland match, we saw Dowd Martinez, Cengiz Sunder, Jeremy Abovasi, and Denny Boanga all on the field together. Is that an attacking look we might see more often going forward, or is that more of a reflection of the situation and the need to chase a goal?
Yeah, I think the latter. But it's certainly an option. It's not something we've done very often, so it's something we also have to train and spend time perfecting. But we intend to use every player in our roster to win games, and hopefully we're not chasing too many games moving forward. But it's an option.
Thanks, Steve. And Olivier Giroud seems to be settling in. He scored his first goal against Portland, but even before that, he impacted the game in a meaningful way against San Jose. From your perspective, what's changed for him recently, and what kind of role can we expect him to play moving forward?
Yeah, I think there's two things, two noticeable differences in the performances. Activity, he's more active, and a little bit of confidence, and that's it. That's all it takes. He's never been far off. And any player or attacker who's not scoring, it doesn't take much. It just takes maybe a moment, and it takes a little more activity and sometimes simplifying things. And in his case, it's just being more active. And he's been doing that. His energy's been great. His effort's been great. And from my perspective, it looks like he's also enjoying his football again, which is also a very important component for me personally that players have when they're out in the field.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, thank you, Daniel. We'll go to Celsa.
Hey, Steve, 4 years as a head coach in Major League Soccer. Just curious on where you see the league today, particularly Sunday night soccer, for example. What do you think of that move? LAFC is going to be featuring that, and it's a good way to get this league to grow internationally, which I think it's still a bit of a challenge. So what are your thoughts on that after spending 4 years in a head coaching position here?
Every day or every evening that there's no game on TV is for me not a fun one. So I would love to watch a game every night, and scattering start times throughout the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even Monday, works for some leagues. I'm not going to chime in on this conversation and give my 2 cents, but I love watching the game, and I love also sometimes, if I can, turning off my coaching brain and just being a fan. And so, yeah, the more we can play and the more we can show what we can do, the happier we are. And yes, this league continues to grow, but it wouldn't be. I don't think it would be very American to try to stop growing until and get bigger and better, because the sky's the limits, and I'm fully expecting that, and I'm very hopeful that we can get there someday.